this evening's meeting. Just the agenda, we've got some events to announce. We're going to be meeting with Hoyle Tanner, and then we'll be going into non-public session. So before we start, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start, I do want to introduce our new town administrator that's going to be taking over Joanne's role that we're going to lose at the end of this week. And this is Carlotta Pini, and she's been working this week trying to get up to speed, which we hope has been going to be a smooth transition, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A few announcements to make is the rec committee is having a movie night at Memorial Park from 8 to 10 on Saturdays, and the farmers market is on Saturdays 10 to 2. We also received a letter from the Hancock Women's Club inviting New Ipswich residents that might be interested in a historic homes and summer garden tour on Saturday, July 21st in the town of Hancock. The tour will be highlighting several antique and historic structures in their town, and they have invited the residents of New Ipswich that may be interested in that. Okay, we have Matt and Joe from Hoyle Tanner to talk to us about our Bridge Aid warrant article that passed this past year and your scheme to expedite this approval with the state for the Bridge Aid.
We're trying. So, thanks for having us. We've had a long relationship with the town of New Ipswich, but it's been a few years since we were here to talk about bridges. So also welcome aboard, Carlotta. We worked with you in Ringe, I believe, right? And maybe one bridge project too, so the timing of tonight is pretty good. So thanks for having us here tonight. Joseph has been working with Joanne on coordinating some of the Taylor Road required documents with New Hampshire DOT. We've been coordinating to try and get this bridge into the program and moved up. The bridge has been closed for a few years, so there's some process that we're going through, coordinating with the department about getting the project programmed for a fiscal year. We have some preliminary information back, but nothing confirmed yet from New Hampshire DOT on when it might be programmed. Because the bridge is already closed, there may be an avenue as well to accelerate, and I think that Selectman Legend, you might have been alluding to how we may be able to move it up in the program or do something called advanced construction. So we do have a handout that we've prepared that has some information in there about cash flow and the condition of the bridge, which is obviously not good because it's closed. But the next steps in the program, Joseph, he can allude to that, what he's been working with Joanne on. And just some history in there. We've done 3 bridges with the town of New Ipswich. We did Lower Ashby and Old Country Road back in the 2004-2005 timeframe. Joseph and I both worked on both of those. And then we did the Tricknet Road Bridge more recently. We were involved in that project as well. So we have a nice history with the town on successful bridge projects. And Joseph will take over here and talk a little bit more about where the Taylor Road project is and what some of the next steps would be. So this would be good as you guys start coordinating on what the next steps are.
So those are the 3 projects that we did on the past. The town only has one more town-owned bridge, which is the Taylor Road, which is on the red list. And then after this, there's no more bridges that we have to worry about. We looked at the condition of the last 3 bridges we did, and they're all in excellent condition. The DOT gave them a rating of 8 on a scale of 1 to 9. So some of them have been in service. Lower Ashby has been in service for 13 years and still in pretty good condition, just like we left it the day after construction. So it's really good to, Matt and I just stopped by and we saw the condition, so we're really happy that they're still serving the purpose and they've been serving the town too. So I had a conversation with C.R. Willoughby from the New Hampshire DOT Planning Community Assistant Bureau, and I mentioned the project to him. Initially, he couldn't find the paperwork. He may have misplaced it, and then I coordinated with Joanne, and then I got back to him, and he eventually found it. So he mentioned to me that he's going to try to initially put the project at the earliest available time, sometime in 2026 right now. So they'll get the process going for the town to select a consultant, and then work through the process to get the engineering study done, the final design done, and then shelf the project. And then he may be able to move it ahead of that fiscal year program, since the bridge has been closed for 5 years. So he's gonna look at, see if there's an opening at any given year, he may move it ahead. The other option that he's gonna give to the town is to do advanced construction, meaning that if the project is programmed in 2026, you could build the project now, if everything is done, if you get the permits in time, and then the DOT is going to reimburse you in 2026 for the construction portion of it. For the design, when the design is done, they're going to reimburse you 80% when the design is completed, as soon as we get the approval letter from them saying that you are all set, we've met all the requirements that you're supposed to, and then they reimburse you for 80% of the design. And then you shelf it until the funding becomes available, or if you already raised the money like you have, you just have to finance that portion of the 80% of the funding. You need to finance it from now until you get reimbursed. So there's a few options there for the town to hopefully expedite this project and just get it done. I just included on the folder the sample cash flow analysis that we've done. We do this all the time. I recently did it for town of Gilmanton. So just to show you what we can help you with, because you do need to figure out when you're going to get the reimbursement, what timing, and how much money you need to finance from now until the project is done. So that's the gist of it. If you have any more specific questions, we're more than happy to discuss it with you. Any more specifics, trying to keep it generic.
First of all, I don't think the town is in any rush to get the bridge replaced, so we wouldn't be doing anything early. It's a bypass road. There's only a couple of houses on it, so I don't think that the board would be looking to fund that. What I was curious and hoping that you were going to address is the funding that's been increased for the Bridge Aid program recently. Is that going to benefit the towns in expediting? Have you heard anything on that? And how will that trickle down to us?
It could move things by one fiscal year for you. So 10.4 million is what the governor signed into law 2 weeks ago. And what that means, the average municipal bridge project is about a $900,000 effort right now. So it's about 8 to 12 projects maybe.
Okay.
That 10.4 million would move forward. And that will be, essentially, they will just try to move projects up. They are in a real rebalancing effort right now. They've over-programmed the program for many years, and they're going through a pretty extensive effort to coordinate with municipalities to find out, you have a project hypothetically that's in fiscal year 2020. Are you ready? Are you going to take this money in 2020? If not, we're going to move you out because there's another town that's ready. We need to balance the program. So they're going through a lot of that right now, which is why it's taking more time than usual to find out what year projects might get put into, because they're trying to find out the reality of what they have in the program, actually. So that other 10.4 is great, but it also causes them more issues with trying to figure out which projects they can move up, which towns might be ready. Joseph used the term on shelf. There's some towns that have projects that are ready and they're waiting. Maybe they're just 1 or 2 years. We don't recommend designing well in advance of your fiscal year unless you're going to do the advanced construction. Because permits are only good for 5 years. So we've had that situation before where towns designed too far in advance and then things change. specifications change, and then you've got to go back and repackage it a little bit before it goes out to bid to make sure you're current with what the contractors can do, availability of materials, what the materials should be, etc. So we don't recommend going out too far. But there will be some movement in the program. But the program is over requested. So we're out into 2026, 2027. How real that is, we'll find out soon, hopefully soon anyway. And you're right, you don't have to rush. It's been closed for 5 years. If there was an urgent need for that, then obviously you'd be doing something ahead of time.
The residents on the road would prefer that we don't fix the bridge.
I said that exact same thing when I was out there today. I said, boy, I bet that house right there is not too sad.
I've got a question, and I spoke with Peter briefly about it this morning. I've seen culverts put inside culverts, and that's what's over there, correct? There's a metal culvert that's on its way out.
We talked about slip lining.
Slip line,
That's what it's
okay.
called.
Yeah,
slip
that's what
lining,
I'm,
yeah.
Is that possible?
It is possible.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and what may happen there, we talked about that a lot on the site just a few minutes ago, actually, is an option that may be available to keep the cost down. The replacement option, great, you know, that'll give you 75, 100 years, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to be more expensive than what that New Hampshire DOT estimate from many years ago is. That's only going to go up. Maybe you don't need that. It's a pond, right? So we just have to take a look at
It is a flood control dam. I mean, that's got to be weighed in, I'm sure.
upstream,
I mean,
sure.
we would limit traffic weight on it. You know, no trucks, residential only, you know.
You wouldn't even have to do that. You know, slip lining would carry all the legal loads, wouldn't have to be posted. The thing that may come along with that is some New Hampshire DES coordination, because it's not an improvement in the environmental aspects of the site. So when we're trying to get a permit, there's this thing now, the stream crossing rules that you might have heard about. Generally, structures are getting bigger and more open. And that's for not only hydraulics, but fish passage, other organisms, small mammal passage, those types of things. That site doesn't really lend itself real well to that. You'd need a 100-foot long bridge, you know, to be able to accommodate all those things. We always get waivers on that. How far we can waiver this down is a negotiation that we have with New Hampshire DES at the beginning of a project. But a slip line might work, because the thing that we can generally offer, and we just had this discussion on a recent project, is an overflow pipe. So if we slip line that existing 10-foot pipe and it becomes an 8-foot diameter, obviously less water can pass through it. So we're not improving the hydraulic situation, we're taking it backwards. So the offset of that could be an overflow pipe or two adjacent to, so just maybe a 4-foot diameter RCP pipe or something that's very easy to put in, that's perched up and is dry until you have a big storm. And then it's wet. So that would be a way we just have to balance the hydraulics to figure it out. You know, the flow coming down through the dam, we know what that flow is. So it's just a hydraulic analysis to figure it out. That would be a lot cheaper option than a full bridge replacement. And looking at the area, you might not need more than that. Now, that's not necessarily a 75 or 100-year life. So that's the balance, right? So that might be a 40-year solution, something like that, at this cost versus a 75-year life at this cost, and then the town can make a decision. What do we want to do? With limited funds, you know, if you start talking about $200,000 or $300,000 out of the town's pocket as 20% for a replacement project, that starts to get pretty pricey.
It does.
You know,
That's why I asked the question.
it's an option. Yeah, it's one that we were thinking about.
And we're working on a very similar project to what Matt mentioned, to town of Swansea. So they have 2 CMPs, 2 corrugated metal pipes similar to yours, but they were beyond repair. We couldn't slip line them. So DS said, yeah, you can replace them with a concrete box. We replace them with a concrete box and then put overflow pipes on either side to improve the waterway passage through the crossings. And they said, if you don't do the overflows, you have to do mitigation. Mitigation is not fun. It's cost a lot of money and a lot of time and effort.
There's been no problem with the beavers going through there.
No, right, yeah, right. And there's 5 feet of water, so there's no problem with fish passage either, which is nice. So as far as corrugated metal pipes, most of the time they're perched, and they basically prevent a blockage from, or they dump.
Right, they daylight a little bit.
Yeah, and DES is, they won't let you extend the life of something like that. You've got to get it submerged so that there's aquatic passage. So you already have that. So that's why slip lining might be an option. We have to figure out how to control the water during that slip lining. There's a lot of water to pump, so it'd be a constructability thing. But we go over all that in the engineering study, the options that the town could then select. And we'd have to make sure the options are approvable by New Hampshire DOT and permittable by New Hampshire DES before we make a decision and move forward with one. We do all that.
Could that be what success would we have with coordinating that work with the Dam Bureau and having them just close the gates?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be tremendous if they could do
Yeah.
that. Keep the water down,
Yeah.
less dewatering.
And that's what we did on a project recently in Peterborough, was we just shut it down so that they were working in the dry.
Yeah.
You know, we get like a 2-week period in August, something like that, a pretty commonly dry period, and have provisions if there's a big storm, then get your stuff out of the way for, you know, a little bit.
How long does that slip lining take? A couple of weeks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
And then we could look at other options. If you're gonna do all that work with the slip lining, we may even look on replacing that CMP with a concrete precast box. That's gonna last a lot longer than that, so we could do a cost-benefit analysis for you. Concrete box is gonna last at least 75 years, but if we could get it dry enough, you should be able to do that with some overflow pipes that you could construct on the
So
drive.
you'd put that concrete box inside the culvert?
No, take the existing, take the old one out and put a new concrete box in there, which is a lot narrower. The pipe is about 50 feet long now,
Mhm.
but you don't need it that long. You could kind of make it narrower.
and that
So
might
if
take,
30 feet.
that might
you
take
can
some
eliminate-
negotiation with New
Right.
Hampshire DES too, because it doesn't quite meet the stream crossing rules. I mean, a stream crossing compliant bridge structure there, without joking,
Over
is
100
probably
feet.
60 feet plus, if you meet the letter of the law. So it could even be closer to 100 feet, but.
I'm thinking that there is, what, maybe 30 at tops?
That pipe
Yeah?
is 10-foot diameter.
No,
Width of
I'm
the road.
talking,
Oh,
The
width,
width?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's 40,
It's about 50,
probably
40
40
to 50.
40 to 50
Is that
feet
Because it
long.
goes further out from the
Yeah.
rail.
Yeah, it's 10 feet either way of the
at
rail.
least, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be quite that
yeah,
long.
yeah.
but- So there's options. There's the replacement option, there's the slip line option, and then there might be something in between too. That would be a good barometer.
So what are the steps, because, you know, you're in here now for informational, and I know you've worked with the town before, but how does the state take it as far as hiring a consultant? What's that process?
Yeah. So the next thing that has to happen is get the project program for a fiscal year. Then the state will say you can go to consultant selection. That would be the next step. So since it's been several years since we've worked with you, you can't just pick us. If you wanted to, you can. You have to go out to a qualifications-based selection process. So I think we've already provided a draft RFQ to Joanne that you could issue in the newspaper, to a select group of consultants, to all the pre-qualified consultants with New Hampshire DOT, whatever you want to do. Have to at least entertain 3 consultants, and then go through a process. There could be submissions of qualifications packages by consultants. It could include interviews, and then you would make a selection of a consultant, tell New Hampshire DOT, we ranked our consultants 1, 2, 3. We'd like to enter a contract negotiations with consultant A, and they'll say, go ahead, start writing up a contract for our review.
Okay.
So those would be the next steps. Get it in a fiscal year, and then get approval to select a consultant.
So should we be contacting the Bridge Aid?
At some point, yes, we're kind of doing that for you now, but
Okay.
at some point there will be some paperwork that the town will need to do. We're just trying to make the phone calls
Okay.
on the speed dial to short circuit a little bit of it for you, but at some point the town will have to take over some letter writing to get a couple things done. And it's not extensive, it's just get that fiscal year programming, that's the first thing we need to hear, and then the next steps can be pretty quick for you.
And you mentioned the timing, if you wait till 2026 or 2027, regulation change, so who knows what DS is gonna tell us that we have to do at that time. Cost goes up, inflation, we've seen a lot of inflation in the last few years, so.
We're waiting for the downside.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right now is not the downside.
We know that.
Good thing you're not ready right now. Well, we just put 2 projects out to bid. One went great and one went terrible. You know, it's just, and 2 days apart, some of the same contractors.
Wow.
And it's just, I don't know.
Surprised you got any bids?
We got 6 bids
On
in
Bedford.
Bedford
Yeah.
and 2 bids in Plastow, and that didn't work out real well. So,
Town of Peterborough a couple of weeks ago put out the new parking lot, got 0 bids.
Yeah.
That's our
Grove
project.
Street
Yeah.
goes
Yeah, we
out.
designed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, you know, we, I don't know, it's, you just don't know what you're gonna get right now, so,
Hit or miss.
yeah. Yeah.
Any questions, Peter?
No.
Any questions?
I have none, thank you.
All right, thank you.
right,
Thank you
thanks
for your
for
help.
coming.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
having us
much.
here, and
Appreciate it.
welcome aboard.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to working with you,
Thank you.
and congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
All right, take care, thank you.
Take care. guys.
Thank you both so much.
Okay, we need to speak on the agenda. Yeah, this is actually bids for the old town hall. That's what-
We can do it.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. We've received 2 bid proposals for the renovation of the town hall, the repair of the town hall sill.
That's where you're gonna have your problem right there.
Mhm.
As soon as you do that, that's
Mhm.
no good.
From, home day.
Mhm.
Oh, look at that. Hmm. That's just a clock.
Mhm.
That's not to rebuild the steep.
No, it's just a clock, yeah.
Didn't realize we put that.
I'm wondering if that's the person that Jim told us about.
Oh,
So they may have just, he may have reached out to them and they put it up. Against the-
In town way here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else get painted today?
He was working on it. He paint started yesterday.
I think you said you finished it today.
Nice. Good.
He's your brother, don't you talk to him?
On occasion, yes.
Oh,
Weddings, funerals.
Sometimes Christmas.
all
Yeah.
right.
Occasionally.
I have a bid proposal here from Grant and Associates. The first part of his letter here is saying that the request was for $1 million per occurrence and $5 million aggregate on insurance, which he says is cost prohibitive. He's carried $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate, along with the required workers' comp, which I think would be acceptable. And he has submitted a lineal foot bid of $2,300 for the replacement.
A lineal foot.
Lineal foot bid, $2,300.
So if we're talking
Based
30
on
feet.
placement, a minimum of 12 lineal feet with a maximum of 50 lineal feet. So if he's talking 12,
36. 34. 24.
no. 28-ish. And foundation level vent bid was $700. Now, the way this was set up, removal and disposal of the existing wood clapboard siding and sheathing to access the sill area, investigate and recommend the extent of sill replacement, shoring of the existing floor system and wall, removal and replacement of the existing wood sill, level the existing floor framing system within the area of the sill replacement, furnishing and installation of wood clapboard siding, sheathing, and moisture barrier to match the existing, including priming and finish painting of the new clapboards.
So, yeah, you're looking at 27,000 just if you get
Yeah.
12 feet. So this is from Target New England out of Alton Bay, New Hampshire, Historical Restorations Company. The following is a proposal for the restoration of the old town hall sills and the leveling of the floor. Scope of work: remove 30 to 40 feet of clapboard siding to expose studs and sills. Jack up both floor and walls. Install 3 footing and 3 posts to support carrying beams. Replace all level damaged sill. Replace siding to studs and replace with new clapboards and exterior to the exterior. Clean and remove work material. Proposed price is $27,680. It includes all labor, materials, and insurance. The second one, I believe this must have been the company that Jim told us about, because they included a proposal for the clock. So there's a second proposal in there, just to keep for records. Just for the clock, there's nothing else.
No, he's doing the whole steeple.
Yeah. Just painting it, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything about repairing it.
Well, he's not even staging it, he's just using a man lift.
Like I told you, this is, having seen it done, I mean, for that right there is what worries me. As soon as you put a jack on that wall, you're gonna lose everything on that side of the wall.
No, you gotta do it slow. 3 footings and 3 posts.
I just can't see how you can do it that slow. What'd you do to your eye?
It's something that at work.
It's good.
I don't understand what the 3 footings and 3 posts to support the carrying beams.
Sounds like he's gonna carry it on the inside of the foundation, is what I'm guessing, and then,
Yeah, well, it's gotta do something once you jack that wall up.
right,
Then you
once he
gotta,
takes it off the sill.
you gotta install something to support the walls, because there's nothing.
He's gonna end up putting a beam underneath the floor joist to bring that up
Right.
level,
Right.
okay? He's gonna remove the rotted sill,
Mhm.
put in a new sill.
Right.
Where are the beams and footings
I
going?
think he's using that for his temporary lift, David.
Oh, just for
I
temporary?
think, I
I
don't,
don't know.
Okay.
but I think that's his,
Either that, or it's one of those things, he figures that with, you know, we had this happen, this was with the church, we still have the tie rods inside, because, you know, you're talking 100 years of this compared to 3 months of this. as soon as you, even if you replace, the building's gonna wanna go back to what it's done for 100 years. So I think he's talking about putting something permanent to maintain the building staying level and tight.
And then replacing, I see what you're thinking too.
Because, like I said, as soon as because we had those tie rods in the building,
Yeah.
you know.
But that was
so
up high or down low?
They're up high because they were like
Right.
this, and it brought it in just to bring it square,
Mhm.
and they built everything up. Then as soon as you release that, you could hear it just immediately trying to pop back out. So I think he's thinking the same thing.
I don't think that's what it is.
Well, then I'm just taking it from my thoughts and the fact that he's probably 100 years this, 3 months of that. And I think that's just my thoughts, is that he's trying to think of some way to maintain the integrity of the building after it's silled and leveled.
Well, that should just be the connection of the floor joist to the sill. That's what's should be holding that building square. If you now have this rotting out and you're replacing the sill, my only concern is, are they doing anything to the granite or field stone beneath the sill that's allowing the other sill to drop?
Right.
And that's why when he says the 3 posts to support carrying beams, I didn't know if he was planning, if this is the old town hall and this is where the sill is that we're talking about, or that he's planning to put 3 piers with a beam to bring that up, so that now all the weight is on a new beam.
Right.
But I think it
But
may be worth, you guys, and if they're willing to invest the time without getting a commitment, was to come down and explain what they were.
Yeah, I'd like a little bit, because like I said, my worry is, I mean, having been in that building, all the plaster and everything inside there is, and pardon my ignorance, and I know it's horsehair plaster, and I don't remember what you call the strapping behind it, that it all, all goes to, okay. You start jacking up that wall, like I said, you're taking 100 years going to 3 months. I've seen just sheets of that stuff fall off, or chunks of it fall off, just from contraction, heat and cold. So I know this is the first step in the process. I just would like to ask them, okay, if you start doing this and we get a domino effect, what are we adding something to that number? Or do you have a Band-Aid that can be put on so you can finish this work and get the building safe to walk inside, and then we take the next step? Or is this going to stop work because it's not in the scope of the money that's there? So I would like, I have questions, right? And so if we can get them to come out and look and talk with us, I would love
Did you
that.
contact them
Sure.
and schedule?
Just that one firm?
Both,
Okay.
both.
Joanne, did anyone contact you from New Hampshire Sign? Gentleman, I had mentioned I'd call and have him call you. Do you have a call? Must be busy.
Some friend, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any information from that other
Somebody
company?
stick a finger in your eye or what?
No, it's working.
Oh, on the side,
Overhead,
yeah.
something
Oh.
fell. I think it was, I don't even know, I think it was a
Yes,
piece of
actually,
mud
Debbie
from a
talked
wasp
to them
nest.
today, and
hit
we're
the
gonna
eyeball
send
And
a really
just
complete,
Okay.
and
bruised.
they came
Yeah.
down,
Bruised eyeball.
right?
Mm.
Because we're a municipality, and she didn't get it,
Okay.
I don't have it to
Okay.
write into.
Yep. Couple of things before we go into non-public that I just wanted to bring up. First of all, we're at that time of year where we need to schedule reviews. So if we can get that put on maybe the next agenda. We have the forms that we've always used, so if you agree, we'll stick with that same format.
Do you wanna do Meredith too? Or is that,
No, that's a stipend.
yeah. But
But
you
why
talked
would
about,
we do everybody then at that, which we,
I know you had talked about it when.
Yeah.
but,
okay.
yeah.
The other issue that came up last week was the fire chief and police chief's discussion about the lights on the rescue vehicle for the emergency management director. And I went meet with Tim and got his view on it, how he was reading the RSA and how I was reading it. And so I had asked George, look, just send an email to New Hampshire Municipal Association. And they did reply that he is allowed to have the rescue vehicle per that RSA. I think because the beginning of that line mentioned licensed, blah, 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 ambulance and something, Tim was taking, well, rescue vehicles must be falling under the license part, but New Hampshire Municipal concurred, and Secretary Judge, thanks for following through on that. Let's talk to Peter about North Road. And did you reach out to Jim Hicks about turning over the equipment, radios and whatnot?
I thought we were gonna see Jim tonight, no?
Next week.
Next.
And I have a question. Did we ever get an answer from Eversource on the light poles, the telephone poles?
All about taking the signs off?
Because they were gone for about 2 days and then they're back. So I didn't know if you had contacted them and things were removed, but they were gone for about 2 days.
From where? The one at
The one on High Bridge, yep, at the end of High Bridge. It was gone for a couple days and now it is back.
I did not contact them, but I will.
All right.
Well, while Peter's here, can you task one of the employees to remove the signs on the town property at the landfill area there, at the fork?
Yeah.
If they're on,
You're talking about 123 and 124?
yeah, those are on the trees on the town property there. If
We
they're
own
on the
that?
pole, we can't,
We own that property, on the,
Probably up to a certain point, because someone's built a bridge in the woods there,
right,
a
they
little
gave
bit
them,
further up.
the town
town.
gave them approval, that was the snowmobile club.
I
Okay.
didn't,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize that we own that deed in that, I didn't
That's all part of the
realize that.
transfer station,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't realize it came that far back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And I took a ride out back on Saturday. We still got a few more 100 yards out of that gravel esker.
A couple? Yeah.
Well, not as much as I would like, but there's quite a bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more than what I thought was gonna be there.
Oh, there is? Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
expecting less.
No,
Oh.
I was expecting more, but,
Oh.
so is that where they're going to be excavating from?
Oh, that stuff that I dumped it, but mix it.
How much of that stuff that you dumped there is silt?
Very little.
Yeah,
A lot of
okay,
gravel.
okay, good. And he's crushing all the concrete?
No, because of steel.
All of it has steel in it?
I'd say probably 80% of it.
So what are we gonna do with it?
Hoping to get a hammerhead, we'll break it, get steel out of there for next time. Maybe I
Not
will.
this time?
Well, it could be a possibility, he hasn't showed up yet. You know, if Hyder isn't using their hammerhead, I could use it for a couple weeks.
I thought he said he'd hammer that though. No? I thought that's why we gave him.
I
Isn't
wasn't
that part of the
hammering it.
discussion?
I don't remember
No.
that.
I don't remember.
I'm the only one remembering it, probably. But, hey, you bring up Hammerhead, good point. Now that you mention that rock on Timber Top,
Leave it.
I think we should get rid of it.
It's traffic control.
It's, if it's removed, it'll be easier to maintain the road, easier to do the road. It's in the way of doing the road. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Not you, I looked at Peter. But it will make doing the road easier to having two big
Winter maintenance
stones.
is a lot easier.
Right.
But I can agree with John, it really gets you to slow down. And that, I think, is gonna be the biggest issue.
I don't think they're gonna slow down. We'll see how far the rock moves after we hit it.
So,
Have we ever had an
you
accident?
seriously want to leave that
Have
rock?
we ever had an accident there?
Yes. I know of at least one person who's.
You will have, once it's paved, I can assure you of
I
that.
mean,
Well, I'm thinking your traction is better on a paved road than that gravel road.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
no, I do know at least one person who's, but you know, again, driving stupid on a dirt road in the wintertime and they hit the big rock. Traffic control.
I think it
never-
makes sense. The
he
moment
only
apparently
did
I'm in
it
the
once.
minority, so be it. We'll see how this plays out.
That would be a tremendous chore.
Yeah, I don't. That'd be a huge chore to get that rock
I
out.
don't think so.
It is. You're either gonna spend money to get somebody in there to pop it, or you're gonna have somebody in there on a hammer for,
Yeah,
Couple of days.
Great and shit.
Yeah,
Get some, drill a hole in it, put some tape.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right in it.
You could. Yeah, you probably could have a couple. Yeah, there might be a couple townspeople that might help you
Might be
get.
willing to.
Yeah, might help you crack a piece off of it.
We get rid of that rock, we get somewhere to put some glass. I think we should get rid of it. But anyway,
Speaking of glass, how close are you on the cost review for disposal? Yeah.
Of the glass or?
No.
trash? You're talking, equipment wise, you're probably talking $40,000-$50,000. There's only one company that'll do a lease, and that's only 1 year lease.
Can you be a little more elaborate? To
What?
lease what? What are they
Lease
going
purchase.
to lease us? Lease purchase
Yeah, with a monthly payment,
of,
the equipment.
meaning compactors and,
2 compactors, 2 boxes. Gotta add a couple open tops on there too, which are around $5,700.
so they're in here, the open tops are, or no?
Well, that's priced separate in there, but
Okay.
there's one guy that bid on everything. If you look at the last 2 or 3 pages. And I called NDS. Tonnage cost is $120 a ton to bring our trash here. But he's gonna be talking, to see if he can do better. He says in 5 years, you could probably be seeing trash going up to like $200 a ton.
Why don't we take this for, and we'll review it, because I'm looking now at 6:45, and I'm presuming we have an applicant waiting.
funny, I was dropping
Do
off
you
trash.
have-
I said, hey, I got a
do you
question
make
for you.
copies?
He goes, yeah, keep going, at the same time. Okay.
Thank you.
You were talking to Matt?
Excuse me?
You were talking to Matt?
Yeah, I started talking to Matt every Monday. Yeah, we're gonna,
Yes.
yeah, might hang on a minute, Joanne.
Make a motion to go into non-public under 91A3, Section B, the hiring of any person as a public employee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.